Recorded.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome all the students of MMC 8 and MMC 9 to today's online teaching session. This is our review class for MMC 8 and regular class for MMC 9. Today I am going to start gastrointestinal physiology. Now, the general principles of gastrointestinal functions. The alimentary tract provides the body with a continuous supply of water, electrolyte, vitamins, nutrients which requires for the movement of food through the alimentary tract, secretion of digestive juices and digestion of food, absorption of water, various electrolytes, vitamins and digestive products, circulation of blood through the gastrointestinal organs to carry away the absorbed substance and control all these functions by local nervous and hormonal system. So the main function of the alimentary tract, which extends from the mouth to anus, is is to digest the ingested food materials and absorb the nutrients through GI tract by her local nervous and hormonal functions. These figures showing the different parts of entire GI system in alimentary tract, which extends from the oral cavity to anus. The alimentary tract starts from the oral cavity. After the oral cavity, there is pharynx. And pharynx is continued as esophagus. Esophagus is continued as stomach, which is the most dilated part of GIT. Then stomach commences at small intestine, which consists of duodenum, jejunum and ileum, and this small intestine commences at large intestine, which consists of appendix, cecum with appendix, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and anal canal. And this alimentary tract is associated with some glands like salivary gland, which is present in the oral cavity, and liver, which is the largest metabolic organ or largest gland, pancreas, etc. Each part of the each part is adapted to its specific function. That is, like the esophagus helps just simple passage of food. Stomach serves as a temporary storage of food. Small intestine helps to digestion and absorption of food. This is the gastrointestinal anatomy. Alimentary tract extends from mouth to anus, and gastrointestinal system extends from the stomach to the anal canal. Gastro means stomach. Now, the physiological anatomy of gastrointestinal wall. A typical cross-section of intestinal wall including the following layers from outer surface to inner surface or inward. Always mention when you say the layers, this is from outside or inside. It starts from outside or inside. Here, the typical cross-section of intestinal wall including the following layers from outer surface to inward. So the outermost layer is the serosa, the outer longitudinal smooth muscle layer, the inner circular smooth muscle layer, the submucosa, and innermost layer is the mucosa. So this is a typical cross section of gut which consists of the outermost layer, the serosa. Sometimes it called adventitia. When the outermost layer of the tract is covered by peritoneum, it is called serosa. When peritoneum is absent, it is called adventitia. So here the first layer is serosa, then outer longitudinal smooth muscle layer, that is this one, and inner circular smooth muscle layer. Between these two layers there lies the myenteric plexus, which is a component of enteric nervous system. Then submucosa, this is the submucosal layer which consists of submucosal glands, Meissner's corpus, Meissner's plexus, which is another component of enteric nervous system. Then the innermost layer is the mucosa, which consists of, we know, the lining epithelium or surface epithelium, mucosal glands, lamina propria, which consist of connective tissue, glands, blood vessels, lymphoid accumulations, and innermost the muscularis interna or muscularis mucosa. Muscularis mucosa, the mucosal muscle. So the layers of the gut from outside to inward is the serosa, the outer longitudinal smooth muscle layer, inner circular smooth muscle layer, the submucosa, and the mucosa, which consists of lining epithelium, mucosal gland, and mucosal muscle. This is the organization of the wall of the intestinal functional layers. Now, the gastrointestinal smooth muscle function as syncytium. What do you mean by syncytium? When the whole muscle must contract as a single unit, we know this is syncytium. Most of the main muscle layer of the gastrointestinal tract is the smooth muscle. So the individual smooth muscle fiber in the gastrointestinal tract are 200 to 500 micrometer in length and 2 to 10 micrometer in diameter, and they are arranged in bundles. So when an action potential is elicited anywhere within the muscle mass, it travels in all directions in the muscle mass because an action potential in one cell will spread to the other cell, causing a series of functional syncytial units. Because within each muscle bundle, the muscle fibers are electrically connected with one another through large number of gap junctions that allow low resistance movement of ions from one muscle cell to the next. So also because a few connections exist between the outer longitudinal and inner circular muscle layers, so excitation of one this layer excites the other layer as well. That's why each muscle layer functions as functional syncytium. It means if there is action potential is present in one muscle fiber, it excites the next muscle fiber and it excites the next. In this manner or in this fashion, the whole gastrointestinal muscle fiber contract as a single unit. That's why the gastrointestinal smooth muscle function as syncytium. Why this occurs? Due to presence of large number of gap junctions between this layer and connections between the longitudinal muscle layer and smooth muscle layer. The main cause is presence of large number of gap junctions which allow continuous low resistant movement of ions from one muscle cell to the next. That's why the gastrointestinal smooth muscle function as syncytium. That is, when it contract as the whole as a unit. Now, the electrical activity of the gastrointestinal smooth muscle. It is a very important topic as it comes very much frequently in your prof examination, both in viva and written. The smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract is excited by almost a continual slow intrinsic electrical activity along the membranes of the muscle fiber. It means the gastrointestinal tract is always excited by its continuous intrinsic means its own electrical activity is present within the gastrointestinal muscle. So there is the electrical activity of the gastrointestinal muscle which has two basic types of electrical waves present in the gastrointestinal smooth muscle, that is the the slow waves and spikes. The electrical activity of the gastrointestinal smooth muscle. It means there is always a electrical potential present in the gastrointestinal smooth muscle. There is always tonic contraction or a phase of contraction present in the along the entire length of the membranes of muscle fiber in the form of two waves, that is slow waves and spikes. The slow waves, the another name is basic electrical rhythm, and the spikes, the another name is spike potential or true action potential or true contraction. The figure showing the membrane potential in the intestinal smooth muscle, which consists of these slow waves and spikes. The spikes are spikes potential are generated at the peaks of the slow waves. So now the slow waves or basic electrical rhythm, it is very much important as it comes frequently in your written exam as short note. That is the basic electrical rhythm BER or describe the slow waves. The most of the gastrointestinal contraction occurs continuously and rhythmically. It is determined by mainly by the frequency of slow waves that are slow, undulating changes in the resting membrane potential of the GI smooth muscle. It means there is a continuous or spontaneously and rhythmically contraction occur in the GI tract by means of slow waves. What are the slow waves? These are the slow and undulating. Undulating means fluctuating or oscillatory changes in the resting membrane potential from smooth muscle of GIT. As we know, the resting membrane potential of smooth muscle of GIT varies from -50 to -60 millivolt. So, what are the properties of BER or basic electrical rhythm? They are not action potential. They are slow waves are not action potential. They are slow, undulating changes in the resting membrane potential. Undulating means fluctuating or oscillatory changes like wavy change, wave present in the seed. This small change in the resting membrane potential. Their intensity varies between 5 to 15 millivolt. Now, what is the main cause of this slow wave? The slow wave occurs due to only the sodium ions to enter the smooth muscle fiber. No calcium ions, so no contraction. Please don't be confused. Slow waves occurs only due to entry of sodium ion within the smooth muscle fiber, which is initiated by the interstitial cell of Kagel, which acts as a electrical pacemaker located in the smooth muscle cell layer. Now, what is the frequency? The slow wave, this is very important for your MCQ exam. Hey? The frequency ranges in different parts of human GIT from 3 to 12 per minute. So the rhythm of contraction is in the body of the stomach is usually 3 to 4 per minute. The frequency in the duodenum is 12 per minute. The frequency in the terminal or distal ileum is usually 8 to 9 per minute. The cecum is about 2 per minute and sigmoid colon is about 6 per minute. In MCQ exam, um, sorry, in MCQ, what is the frequency of slow waves of BER in the stomach? 3 to 4, 12, or 8 to 9? The answer is 3 to 4 per minute, frequency per minute. Now, what is the function or importance or significance of these slow waves? They mainly excite the appearance of intermittent spikes, and spike potentials in turn actually excite the muscle contraction. It means this is the preparatory or first stage of spike potential, which occurs due to only entry of sodium ion. As there is no calcium ion, so no action potential occurs here. Please remember, the slow waves or basic electrical rhythm occurs only due to entry of sodium ions, which causes undulating or slow changes in the resting membrane potential of smooth muscle fiber. Okay. Now the spike potential. The spike potentials are the true action potential. The frequency varies from 1 to 10 spikes per second and the duration is 10 to 20 milliseconds. The spike potential is regulated by slow waves. The higher the slow wave potential rises above -40 millivolt, the greater the frequency of spike potentials automatically. Now, the main cause of the slow spike potential or spike waves or true action potential, it occurs due to large number of calcium ion to enter along with small number of sodium ion by calcium sodium channel. This calcium sodium channel is very important. The entry of large number of calcium ion with small number of sodium ion occurs through calcium sodium channel. This channel is important because it is much slower to open and much slower to close, and the slowness of opening and closing accounts for longer duration of action potential. As a result, calcium causes contraction of the smooth muscle by calcium calmodulin mechanism. So what is the cause of spike potential? Because mainly due to large number of calcium ion with small number of sodium ion enter through calcium sodium channel, which causes actual muscle contraction or form the action potential. Hey? তাহলে এখন তোমাদেরকে যদি বলে যে বেসিক ইলেকট্রিক্যাল রিদমের মেইন কজ কি, তোমরা অবশ্যই বলবে অনলি সোডিয়াম আয়ন এন্টার ইনটু দ্য স্মুথ মাসেল। আমি এটা দিয়েছি নো ক্যালসিয়াম, প্লিজ ডোন্ট বি কনফিউজ, কারণ ক্যালসিয়াম এখানে বলা যাবে না, যেহেতু কোনো ক্যালসিয়াম নেই, সো এখানে কোনো কন্ট্রাকশন অ্যাকশন পটেনশিয়াল হচ্ছে না। আর স্পাইক পটেনশিয়াল মেইনলি হবে ডিউ টু তোমার ক্যালসিয়াম সোডিয়াম চ্যানেল দিয়ে মেইনলি লার্জ নাম্বার অফ ক্যালসিয়াম এন্টার উইদিন দ্য smooth muscle cell with small amount of sodium. এবং what is the importance of this calcium sodium channel? This calcium sodium channel is must opens slowly and closes slowly. The slowness of this channel accounts for longer duration of action potential. Now there is another viva question: what is the difference between the action potential of nerve fiber and GIT? জিআইটিতে তো আমরা জানলাম যে সোডিয়াম পটাশিয়াম ক্যালসিয়াম সোডিয়াম চ্যানেল দিয়ে লার্জ নাম্বার অফ ক্যালসিয়াম এন্টার করে, যেটা তোমার ক্যালসিয়াম ক্যালমিডুলিন মেকানিজমে মাসেল কন্ট্রাকশন করে। বাট ইন কেস অফ নার্ভ ফাইবার, যার রেস্টিং মেমোরি পটেনশিয়াল ইজ -90 মিলিভোল্ট, ওখানে রেপিড এন্ট্রি অফ দ্য সোডিয়াম অকার্স থ্রু সোডিয়াম চ্যানেল উইদিন দ্য ইন্টেরিয়র অফ দ্য ফাইবার। সো নার্ভ ফাইবারে তোমার হচ্ছে অ্যাকশন পটেনশিয়াল হচ্ছে অনলি থ্রু সোডিয়াম চ্যানেল দিয়ে সোডিয়াম আয়ন এন্টার করছে, বাট তোমার জিআইটি স্মুথ মাসেলে তোমার কন্ট্রাকশনটা হচ্ছে থ্রু তোমার ক্যালসিয়াম সোডিয়াম চ্যানেল দিয়ে। Now this figure showing this is the slow waves which ultimately causes spikes. It means the spikes generated at the peaks of slow waves. Now, this is for MCQ. Hey? What are the changes in the voltage in the resting membrane potential in smooth muscle of GIT, or the changes in the voltage in resting membrane potential in smooth muscle of GIT? In addition to slow waves and spike potentials, the baseline voltage level of the smooth muscle resting membrane potential can also change. It means এখানে শুধু তোমার স্লো ওয়েভস এবং স্পাইকস না, আরো কিছু চেঞ্জ হতে পারে রেস্টিং মেমব্রেন পটেনশিয়ালে। আন্ডার নর্মাল কন্ডিশন দ্য রেস্টিং মেমব্রেন potential averages -56 millivolt, but multiple factors can change it. তোমার average -56 millivolt, but the range is -50 to -60 millivolt. What are those changes? দেখো এখানে স্লো ওয়েভ হচ্ছে, স্পাইক হচ্ছে, there is also depolarization, hyperpolarization, and all this occur under normal physiological condition. So when depolarization occurs, when the action potential becomes less negative and causing the muscle fibers become more excitable, is called depolarization. The factors causing depolarization are stretching of the muscle, stimulation by the acetylcholine which is released by the nerve endings of the parasympathetic nerve, stimulation of the specific gastrointestinal hormones. Now hyperpolarization, when the action potential become more negative, causing the muscle fiber less excitable, called hyperpolarization. It occurs due to epinephrine and non-epinephrine which is secreted by the sympathetic nerve endings in the nerve fiber membrane. And the stimulation of sympathetic nerve create mainly norepinephrine and epinephrine at their nerve endings. It means যে তোমার রেস্টিং মেমব্রেন পটেনশিয়াল চেঞ্জ মানে যে শুধু স্লো ওয়েভ এবং স্পাইক ওয়েভ বা ট্রু অ্যাকশন পটেনশিয়াল তা না, ইট অলসো কজেস ডিপোলারাইজেশন এন্ড হাইপারপোলারাইজেশন। তাহলে আমাদেরকে তোমাকে যদি মেইনলি প্রশ্ন আসে হোয়াট আর দ্য ইলেকট্রিক্যাল প্রায় এভাবে আসে, ডিসক্রাইব দ্য ইলেকট্রিক্যাল অ্যাক্টিভিটি অফ দ্য গ্যাস্ট্রোইন্টেস্টাইনাল স্মুথ মাসল, তোমরা এই দুইটা পোর্শন লিখবে, এখান থেকে স্টার্ট করবে, দেন ইউ মাস্ট হ্যাভ টু ডেসক্রাইব অ্যাবাউট স্লো ওয়েভস, এই ছবিটা দিবে, অ্যান্ড স্পাইকস। অথবা মাঝে মাঝে শুধু বেসিক ইলেকট্রিক্যাল রিদম অথবা বিইআর শর্ট নোট আসে, হ্যাঁ, তখন এটা তোমার ডেসক্রাইব করতে হবে উইথ ফিগার। ঠিক আছে। Now, there is always a tonic contraction exists in the gastrointestinal smooth muscle. Tonic means continuous. A tonic contraction is continuous, not associated with basic electrical rhythm of the slow waves, but often lasts for several
ম্যাম একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল।
hours. হ্যাঁ বলো।
ম্যাম দুইটা ওয়েভের মধ্যে কি আলাদা আলাদা ফিগার দিতে হবে নাকি একটা ফিগার দিলেই চলবে?
দুইটা ওয়েভে যেমন ধরো তোমার তো দুইটা দিলে তো ভালো হয়, কারণ তোমার আলটিমেটলি স্লো ওয়েভ গুলা তো কম একসাথে হয়ে তোমার স্পাইক হচ্ছে, তাই না?
জি ম্যাম।
আর তুমি যদি এখানে ডিপোলারাইজেশন হাইপার এগুলো না লিখতে চাও অসুবিধা নাই, তুমি হচ্ছে রেস্টিং এই দুইটা ওয়েভ দেখিয়ে দিলেই হবে। ঠিক আছে?
জি ম্যাম।
হ্যাঁ, থ্যাংক ইউ। নাও, the tonic contraction of the gastrointestinal smooth muscle. The tonic contraction is continuous. It is not associated with the basic electrical rhythm or slow waves, but often lasts several hours, minutes, even hours. It means there is slow wave, spikes, and other changes in the resting membrane potential like depolarization, hyperpolarization present. Along this, the GI smooth muscle always maintain a tonic contraction. Always there is a tonic contraction present in GI smooth muscle, which often increases or decreases intensity, but it continues. Why this tonic contraction occur? Because of these three reasons. Number one, continuous repetitive spike potential by the hormones or other factors that bring about continuous partial depolarization of the smooth muscle membrane without causing the action potential, that means the slow waves, and continuous entry of calcium ion into the interior of the cell through calcium sodium channel. These are the cause of tonic contraction. ঠিক আছে। Now my another very much important topics, because it comes very much frequently in both your viva and written exam. What is the nerve supply of gastrointestinal tract, or what are the nerve innervation of the gastrointestinal tract? The GI tract has two types of nerve supply, mainly basically two types, the intrinsic component and extrinsic component. Intrinsic মানে হচ্ছে its own, that is enteric nervous system, and intrinsic means outside the GIT, which includes the autonomic nervous system. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic division of GI, uh, both sympathetic and parasympathetic division of autonomic nervous system innervate the GI tract. আচ্ছা, এখানে আরেকটা কথা আছে, there are also comes from sensory afferent fibers, আমি later বলছি। তো মেইনলি যদি তোমাদেরকে বলে যে জিআই নার্ভাস সিস্টেমে তোমার কি কি কম্পোনেন্ট আছে, তোমরা বলবে বা কি কি নার্ভ ইনারভেশন আছে, ইন্ট্রিনসিক কম্পোনেন্ট এন্ড এক্সট্রিনসিক কম্পোনেন্ট। Intrinsic component consists of enteric nervous system, and extrinsic component consists of sympathetic and parasympathetic division of autonomic nervous system. Now the enteric nervous system, very very much important, both written and viva. ঠিক আছে? Enteric nervous system, the enteric nervous intrinsic nerve supply, that is enteric nervous system. The gastrointestinal tract has a nervous system of The gastrointestinal tract has a nervous system all its own called enteric nervous system. মানে হচ্ছে gastrointestinal সিস্টেমের নিজস্ব একটা মানে তোমার অটোনমিক সাপ্লাই তো আছে, তাছাড়াও তার নিজস্ব একটা ওন হাইলি রিচ একটা নার্ভাস সিস্টেম আছে, যা তার একান্ত নিজস্বই, মানে ইন্ট্রেন্সিক টু ইটস ওন, মানে অনলি ডিজাইন ফর হোল জিআইটি, gastrointestinal tract, which is known as enteric nervous system. It lies entirely within the walls of the gut, beginning in the esophagus and extending all the way to anus. It is connected to the central nervous system by parasympathetic and sympathetic fiber, but can function autonomously without these connections. The enteric nervous system can function independently of these intrinsic nerves. It means the enteric nervous system is so much highly rich in its own nerve supply that it can function independently without the help of autonomic nervous system. But if autonomic nervous system present, it can help or potentiate the functions of enteric nervous system. But if anyhow the autonomic nervous system is cut off or absent, the enteric nervous system can continue its function independently of these extrinsic nerves. The number of the neurons in this enteric nervous system is about 100 million, almost exactly equal in the number of the entire spinal cord. That's why sometimes it's called the little brain. It is highly developed this highly developed enteric nervous system is especially important in controlling the gastrointestinal movements and secretions. So, the enteric nervous system conveys information from the CNS to the GIT, but also can activate program response of secretion and movement in an autonomous fashion that is independent of sympathetic and parasympathetic supply. Now, the enteric nervous system is composed of two plexuses. Number one, Myenteric or Orbesch plexus, an outer complex lying between the longitudinal and inner circular muscle layer, and number two, Meissner's plexus or submucosal plexus, an inner plexus which lies in the submucosa. As I said earlier, this is the serosa, outer longitudinal smooth muscle, inner circular smooth muscle, submucosa and mucosa. The Orbesch plexus or the Myenteric plexus which lies between the outer longitudinal smooth muscle and inner circular smooth muscle, and the Meissner's plexus or submucosal plexus which lies in the submucosal layer. This is the submucosal plexus which is present in the submucosa, and Myenteric plexus which is present between the outer longitudinal and inner circular smooth muscle layer. There is also some sensory neurons. Acha. The types of neurotransmitters secreted by the nerve endings of enteric nervous systems. The GI enteric nervous system consists of different types of neurotransmitter that are released by the nerve endings of different types of nerves in the different types of enteric neurons. These are the neurotransmitter are acetylcholine, norepinephrine, adenosine triphosphate, serotonin, dopamine, cholecystokinin, substance P, vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, somatostatin, leuenkephalin, metenkephalin, bombastin. Uh, these are mixture of excitatory and inhibitory effect, like acetylcholine always excites the GI activity and norepinephrine always inhibit the GI activity. আচ্ছা, তাহলে আমি আগে বলছিলাম যে তোমার enteric system consists of Myenteric plexus and Meissner's plexus. Now, what are the functions of this Myenteric plexus and Meissner's plexus? The main function of Myenteric plexus is to control the GI movement, Myenteric for movement, and the Meissner's plexus or submucosal plexus mainly control the GI secretion, local absorption, and local blood flow. As the enteric nervous system consists of the excitatory and inhibitory neurons, so when the enteric nervous system is stimulated or excited, there are some effects. When inhibited, there are also some effects. So the Myenteric plexus is concerned mainly with the controlling of muscle activity along the length of GIT. It means the movement of muscle. When this plexus is stimulated by acetylcholine or any other neurotransmitter, the principal effects are it increases the tonic contraction or tone of gut wall, increase the intensity of the rhythmical contractions, slightly increase the rate of the rhythm of the contraction, and increase the velocity of conduction of excitatory waves along the gut wall, causing more rapid movement of gut peristaltic waves. এই চারটা ফাংশনের যদি সামারি বলি তাহলে হচ্ছে তোমার this one control the main gastrointestinal movement. When they stimulated, it causes these four functions, that is the increase tonic contraction, increase intensity, increase the rate of rhythm, increase the velocity of conduction. But the Myenteric plexus should not be considered entirely excitatory because some of its neurons are inhibitory, like norepinephrine, which causes decreased constriction of the pyloric sphincter, which ultimately increase the gastric emptying, and decrease the constriction of the sphincter of ileocecal valve, which causes increased emptying of small intestine into the cecum. So, the Myenteric plexus mainly concerned with the movement of GI activity. When it is stimulated, it causes this increased contraction, increased rhythmical contraction, intensity, increase the rate of rhythm, and increase the velocity of conduction. But when it is inhibited, it causes decrease the constriction of pyloric sphincter or decrease the constriction of sphincter of ileocecal valve. Now the functions of Meissner's plexus or submucosal plexus. It controls the local intestinal secretion, local absorption, local contraction of the submucosal muscle that causes various degree of infolding of the gastrointestinal mucosa, which helps to blood flow. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the nerve supply of gastrointestinal tract is intrinsic and extrinsic. The intrinsic is the enteric nervous system, and extrinsic component consists of autonomic control of gastrointestinal tract, which consists of sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. Now, the sympathetic stimulation usually inhibit the gastrointestinal activity. Why? Now, the sympathetic fibers of gastrointestinal tract originate in the spinal cord between the segments of thoracic 5 and lumbar 2 segments of spinal cord. The sympathetic nerve endings secrete mainly norepinephrine. So, stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system inhibit the activity and secretion of GI tract by secreting norepinephrine, which is inhibitory neurotransmitter. So, the sympathetic stimulation usually inhibit the GI activity. Now, parasympathetic stimulation, it causes parasympathetic system usually increase the activity of the enteric nervous system. It means it increase the activity of GI system. What happens there? The parasympathetic supply to the gut is divided into two parts, that is cranial division and sacral division. Cranial parasympathetic nerve almost entirely supplied through vagus nerve, and sacral division originate in the second, third and fourth sacral segment of spinal cord and passes through pelvic nerve. The neurotransmitter secreted by the parasympathetic nerve fiber is acetylcholine. Stimulation of this parasympathetic nerve fiber causes general increase in the activity and secretions of entire enteric nervous system, which in turn enhances the activity of the most gastrointestinal function. It means the parasympathetic fiber causes increased activity and secretion of gastrointestinal system by secreting the excitatory neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine, in the parasympathetic nerve endings. So, the sympathetic stimulation usually inhibit the GI activity, and parasympathetic stimulation increase the GI activity by increasing the activity of the enteric nervous system. ঠিক আছে, আমি একটু আগে একটা ছবিতে বলেছিলাম there are also some sensory nerve fiber. হ্যাঁ, many sensory nerve fiber innervate the gut. Some of the nerve fiber have their cell bodies in the enteric nervous system, and some have in the dorsal root ganglia in spinal cord. About 80% of the nerve fiber are vagus afferent than efferent. These afferent fibers function the key. The afferent fiber transmits sensory signals from the gastrointestinal tract to the brain medulla, which in turn initiate vagal reflex signals that return to the gastrointestinal tract to control many of its functions. It means দেখো যে তোমার gastrointestinal tract এ তোমার supplied by the whole neural control of the gut wall, sympathetic and parasympathetic, which means the autonomic nervous system, submucosal plexus and meningeal plexus, which consist of the intrinsic component, that is enteric nervous system, and the afferent fibers from the sensory neurons, which is 80% of vagus nerve. So if we summary the neural control of the summary of the neural control of GI function is the enteric nervous system, which consists of meningeal plexus and Meissner's plexus, which is mainly concerned with the movement and secretion of GIT. The autonomic control of GIT, which consists of parasympathetic stimulation that increase the activity of the enteric nervous system, and sympathetic stimulation which inhibit the GI activity, and afferent sensory nerve fibers from the gut in the form of vagus nerve, that is 80%.